Hello ladies and gents, and welcome to the very first MLL roster breakdown. Today it's going to be BrutalFissure. I'm joined today by TJ. How you doing, TJ?
Yeah, I am doing pretty good right now. Awesome. Pretty good. How you doing, Jay?
I'm awesome. Like, excited. We've got a couple of weeks left before the season starts. Season 2. All things go. New website coming. We've got all the new social media. We've got a lot of new stuff, new rules and regulations, new teams. But the team we're going to be talking about today is going to be BrutalFissure. Right. So, introduction about the team. What is BrutalFissure? Now, BrutalFissure is a organisation owned by our very own Wuffy GG. Cha-ching. Hot.
Sorry, big Wuffy. Up the Wuffy.
Yeah, big up the Wuffy.
The Woofster.
The Woofster. So let's. They've got a very strong roster, in my opinion, this season. Now, TJ, you actually have the roster. Why don't you tell the folks at home what the actual roster is?
Okay, well, the roster that BrutalFissure will be entering, you've got Gage the Viking on tank, and he's also their captain. Dutch Knight on off tank. The DPS players of Neptune the Blue and Maeve. Their support is Vinorosso, and their substitute is Derp.
See.
Simple as that.
Yeah, I've got to go with... I don't know who Vinorosso is, but I know who Derp is. And Derp actually shows up. He's, like, really good. Like, really... Oh, just blinded myself, you know. But that's okay. He's really freaking good. I feel... Like, he tried out for Fate. And then he went into another team with some sort of fish name on it. I don't know what that is. But I think he's... in a sub role? I don't know. Maybe it's his anxiety or something. I don't know if he has anxiety, but he's like very nervous player. But yeah. So let's talk about season 1. Now BrutalFissure in season in season 1, BrutalFissure.
Straight face.
Yeah, I am. Right. Let me start again.
Yeah, we can't put this. We can't sugarcoat it anymore. They were last. Yeah, they went 0-7 in the regular season.
Yeah, 0-7 in the regular season. Did not have a single win. I don't. Now they had some of the players they have now, so they do retain some of the players. But to me, season 1 was abysmal for him. Even Wuffy was like, Like, he didn't give hope. He believed in his players as a good org owner is meant to. But, yeah, it was definitely one of those seasons for him that was just completely off. It did not work very well at all. But the roster now. Now, we've got... I want to talk about 2 main players. My main player is Maeve. He was my pick for their team last season. And you want to go with who?
I was going to go with the other DPS player, Neptune the Blue.
We'll start with you. You go ahead and tell me all about Neptune, then.
Okay, well, Neptune as a player, like in season 1 with BrutalFissure and how the teams all performed, I felt that as the weeks went on, Neptune kind of came into his game a lot more. So earlier on in the earlier weeks. Pretty much before week 4 or week 5, being a DPS for BrutalFissure as they lost every game, he wasn't really allowed to do his job, so to speak. He could, he was being given the Drogos, he was being given Bomb King.
He was given Blast Champions.
Yeah, he was given Blast Champions, and with high priority as well, they were picked quite early on in the draft. Give them to Neptune, and like he had times where he would pop off, but unfortunately the team was sort of crumbling around him, so he wasn't much he can do. But what I want to bring up is that BrutalFissure at the early part of the season was a completely different team to BrutalFissure in weeks 6 and 7.
Yeah, week 6 is, in my opinion, the hardest week for them.
Yeah, I think weeks... Who did they play on week 6? Let me have a quick look. Week 6 was the game against Fate.
Fate, yeah.
Actually. Yeah, they had Fate in week 6, and then it was Leviathan in week 7.
Yeah, so I felt like week 6 and 7, there was no way they were going to pick up a win against 2 tier 2 teams. That wasn't going to happen, right? So Leviathan, obviously, the champions of season 1, Fate coming up as runners-up. Those were your seed 1 and 2, right? But Maeve Now, he's a hit scan player. He's also a flank player. Hence the name, Maeve. Right? But put him on the Leon, put him on a Cassie, something like that, and you are going to see God's work being done. He is that good. But it depends on his emotional state. Does he want to show up for the day? Did he get out of bed, the right time? These are the things you've got to think. Well,
the real problems we deal with right now.
Yeah. So to me, great player, and he's not memeing about and messing about. That team stands a great chance.
Show up.
Yeah, he needs to show up for his team. I don't think he realises that coming into Season 2, a lot's riding on him to perform. You are the DPS player, yeah? Now, another thing I want to see more of is him playing off his tanks. See what his tanks are engaging on, and then him engaging on them, right? Because to me, if we looked at Season 1, we didn't really see that. There was a Bright Marsh game where they played Ico, and they still lost. And even though... No, they didn't. Did they lose or did they win?
BrutalFissure beat Ico, if I'm
No,
trying
they
to find
didn't.
that
They went 0-7, you said. So they couldn't have won.
Yeah, but both games are 4-1. It's actually a Jaguar Falls game and Serpent Beach game.
Serpent Beach, right. But there was who was it, the Bright Marsh game? It was part of the the Season 1 montage. But anyway...
that was the Shazoo game.
Yeah. Now, he played really well. And I feel that because he was... No, wasn't he on Shazoo?
No. Maeve at the start of Season 1, he was playing for Crisis, I believe.
No, Maeve wasn't on Crisis. He was on Shazoo. Yeah, he was there with Apple, remember? And then Apple changed the roster. And yeah, right. So, now him being on BrutalFissure, I feel there's a lot more weight to BrutalFissure. They're not going to be that mean team because they're not coming last.
No.
I can't personally see BrutalFissure coming last. I mean, you've got some really strong teams in Eden, Essential Gaming, in my opinion, are going to be a good team. Believe it or not, Ico getting into the semi-finals of ESL. They've never done that before. They're doing that. All the teams from Season 1 have improved. And we've got these new teams coming in. Again, Carrot Judgment. We know Carrot Judgment is one of those hella strong teams that perform in all the Community Cups. They did relatively well in the PML qualifiers. Sadly, they didn't qualify. But, I think a lot of the teams that are there now have all improved. But, like I said, Maeve is one of those... players to me that if he shows up on the day, they can pick up the W. So let's talk about Neptune.
So as I was saying with BrutalFissure, as they started off quite poorly and ended quite poorly, but they showed the glimpses. I remember when I was casting the Leviathan game, and I know there is an argument that could be made that Leviathan at this point had already secured top seed. Fate couldn't catch them at this point, so you could say, "Oh, but Leviathan weren't taking it seriously. It was just practice."
Fate was seed 1, Leviathan was seed 2, and then Leviathan beat
they secured playoffs.
Yeah,
is what I mean.
Playoffs,
so
right. I thought you meant seed.
So
I was like, isn't that the other way around?
I don't know, but the point I'm making is that there is an argument you can make, oh, they've already secured it, or they're just laughing and joking around, not taking it seriously. Oh, it's only BrutalFissure who are last place. Why do we even need to take this seriously? Yeah. Leviathan were champions for a reason. Even if they're not taking the game seriously, they're still exceptional players.
Yeah.
And BrutalFissure, when it was casting, and it will stick with me for a very long time, when I actually said, I can't believe I'm going to say this, guys, BrutalFissure have just captured the point off Leviathan. Did not think I would say that line, ever.
Oh, yeah, it was the first point, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was the Stone Keep game.
Stone Keep game, yes, I remember that. And
the game 2 Leviathan...
Going, what? Yeah, I think game 2 they sort of woke up and said, "Now we're not going to allow that again."
That was a very quick 4-0.
Yeah, very quick. It was a sub-past 7-minute game. No, it was 7
quickest.
8, one of the quickest games, wasn't it? Yeah, it was the quickest game of the league. Yeah, I think they just slept a little bit on BrutalFissure, and BrutalFissure took the opportunity. But if we can see that will and determination again into Season 2, I think that's going to be great. So, I did have this whole thing, team introduction, Season 2, but I've forgotten the rest of it. How does it go on the bottom? Because I can't check it for some reason.
talk about main two players on team. Done that. Hopes for season 2, and then a close.
Right. So hopes for season 2.
Not come last.
I don't think they're going to come anywhere near last.
No.
I don't. I mean, we've got some unknown teams. Nova 8, Neverburn. Never seen any of these teams play. Bar the games we saw that we did in the practice casting, right? So we've seen one scrim, right? But
Casters have to scrim as well, guys. Just remember that.
Casters have to scrim as well. I haven't casted in well over a year, and I'm casting season 2 alongside with TJ. And
And Apple.
And good point. Apple's gonna, like, if he shows up, of course. Apple's gonna be here, and
Someone's normally late on week 1.
yeah, somebody's always late. Oh, of course, we're never gonna forget it, are we? Wuffy.
Wuffy.
Season 1. We're like literally 2 minutes to go live, and he's not here, and everybody's like, "Where's Wuffy?" And
Anyway,
we're all texting people trying to get him here. You know, he's gonna hate us for this, but it's okay. But yeah, so BrutalFissure, in my opinion, hopes for season 2. I'm gonna put myself out there. I don't know why I'm saying this, but I want to see a playoff. What a story that would be, right? Season 1, rock bottom, to coming off to becoming a playoff team in season 2. I think at the very least they'll get mid-table.
Yeah, I think when I think of BrutalFissure, I think season 1 they had a pretty good excuse as well. Like the team itself was created literally as the league started. Pretty much, it was within like a couple of weeks. The roster was thrown together, and it was just like, "Oh, hey guys, perform now. We're casting your games," and that really showed.
Yeah,
but now there's no excuses.
Yeah, I mean
this
roster's been together what, months now?
I mean, the core players have been together a lot. There has been a few changes in the support role recently, which is why BrutalFissure haven't recently turned up in the ESL Challenge Cups. Or that I could find, but yeah, that's what I was going to say. They don't have any excuses right now.
We've got Hellebuff left, and she was replaced with
Venoroso.
Venoroso. But I can't remember who Venoroso used to play for. I've heard the name, but I haven't heard the name frequently, sort of thing, you know. So he's a bit of an unknown to me.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I'm gonna enjoy about it. There's like, I mean, Jay is the fountain of knowledge in Paladins, of basically a historian in a way. Name a player, he will tell you all about it.
But Venoroso, I can't tell you anything about. Now I feel bad. I'm letting people down. Like, I looked.
Was not found.
Yeah, 404 error. You know, I can't find anything on him. I'm like, where did he play then? You know, I can tell you what's happened at every single LAN in Paladins, who won, where did they come, what the score was, what was the final map. Like, I can tell you, again, final map of MLL Season 1, it was Fate versus the 5, and it came down to Timbermill. Fate had actually won the game. They had to zone out, and guess what? Boom! They forgot to zone out. Leviathan come in, win the team fight, and Leviathan take the world, you know, they take the, I was about to say world championship. They take the MLL championship.
I did say that on cast as well. When we interviewed Lord Player afterwards, like, how does it feel winning the world champs? Like, wait a minute, what?
The world
but this was after a 5.5, 6 hour broadcast, so we have excuses. Anyway,
do you know what I find funny? It's that even though we've talked about Maeve and we've talked about Neptune. Now, if you remember when BrutalFissure in Season 1, they played the solo tank, right? And you had Dutch Knight playing the Zin, right? He went on to Zin, and of course we had the famous clip of him failing, and yeah, ching, love it. Do you reckon we're going to see a little bit of that coming out? Or do you reckon they're going to go hard, fast, double tank? I mean, double tank gives any team the better opportunity, right? Unless you're hardcore and you've trained solo tank, it's very hard to get it to work. I don't care what you're doing ranked or what you're doing, casuals.
What you're doing in casual queue.
Yeah, that doesn't mean nothing to me. You can pull solo tank now against a double tank or double healer comp. Good luck with that. You're not going to win. Yeah. They've got more sustain, more healing.
Yeah.
So.
Especially if you're going against a coordinated frontline team as well. Like, coordinated, you've got your IB, you know, you could have an aggressive playmaking tank, off tank, you have a defensive one, or however they decide to run it. Double flanks, front lines, you know, I've seen some crazy stuff in my time. But I think the fact that Dutch Knight can play flanks, not on Jaguar Falls, but he can play them, I think that's something to have in BrutalFissure's back pocket. You know, if they need something, just to throw
like a default pocket strat, yeah? So, like, it's a fallback strat. Say they get wiped on map 1, you're going in, obviously it's a best of 2 series, bring in the map 2, right, okay, that hasn't worked, we need to pick up a win somewhere, we need to be fast, hard and aggressive, what do? Play the solo tank, bring in the third DPS, which I'm assuming is going to be Dutch, he plays like a Charlene or a flank onto the Androxys, or onto a Talus or something. Now, I do believe he can play Talus, obviously, even though his Xin clips become a bit of a meme, he's actually a relatively good Xin player, right? So he can go onto the Zins. But now, I would not like to see Torvald being picked. Same in Season 1, he was constantly banned. In fact, he was picked once throughout the entire tournament, wasn't it? Or over the league?
Oh, Jay, give me a line to that. Let me just go and find that one for you.
I think it was.
Torvald was picked 5 times.
So he made draft 5 times.
Yeah, he was
banned. Out of how many games? What's that?
Out of 48 games, he was banned 40 times. Picked 5 and got through 3 of them. But here's the thing, though. Torvald, whenever he was picked, he only won 1 game. Like, he had 4 losses.
Yeah, he was like 10% or whatever it is, 4% win ratio. He wasn't really... Not something that was the pinnacle pick back then. I don't think back then in Season 1 he was picked properly. Like, when you were picking him, now you know that you can run a Genos, Torvald, but if you're going to run the Torvald, you've got to play the double strat. So it's going to be Torvald into a Genos, Torvald into the Koga, Torvald into the Xin, and then you run a separate tank, and then you run your healer, or double heal, you know, and then be point take. You know, it's pure aggression.
Play Torvald as this off-tank / like a utility tank.
Yeah, he's a utility.
Because he's just popping shields left, right, and centre, and then he also has the hyper beam.
I mean, the hyper beam doesn't even come into it that much now. It's more about the shielding, getting the cooldown, making sure you're in the right position to, you know, shut down tanks. Excuse me. But,
or if you play a Frog Isle, then...
yeah, if you play he never got through on Frog Isle, actually. Never!
No, he never got through on Frog Isle.
In fact, I haven't seen him get through on Frog Isle in about a year. So...
But anyway, my hopes for BrutalFissure. In my predictions, as I'm doing my research into all these teams, I'm looking at tournament results. I'm thinking back to last season, seeing past players and what they can bring to the team and such. My prediction, I think the playoffs would be a dream. Honestly, getting that 4th seed.
Are you honestly going to say they can't make it, or do you reckon they can? Honestly, like, looking at the teams we've got, and now that we know the rosters, right? Now, bearing in mind, Season 1, you had your top 3 teams that could fight against each other, then there was the rest, right? Oops, bang my mic. Then it was the rest. Whereas Season 2, like, that is completely open. There's, what, 1 team, maybe, that could dominate if they get it right?
But going by, as I say, recent tournament results and a slight roster change, I think they're not going to come last. I could rule that out, first of all. I think BrutalFissure will finish in the lower half of the table. I predict them around about that 5th or 6th mark, which they could comfortably hit. But if they show up and everything goes their way, I don't see why they can't make playoffs.
Yeah, but it's a lot of what ifs. I reckon, right, if Maeve and Neptune, like, queued together, like, even if it's casuals and they get a bit more synergy together, like, I've actually spent a little time watching the scrims and whatnot, unbeknownst to them, you know, because I knew we were going to be making this video, so I spent a couple of days, like, well, a little while ago, actually, watching their scrims, and from what I can tell, and the scrim we practice casted, they look fantastic.
Yeah.
That was not
a really nice game.
very, very good scrim. Obviously,
Yeah,
you can't tell the result of that, but you know.
No, but there was a definite. I'd say it was a pretty good comeback. Not gonna lie, but again, it was a fantastic scrim to both watch and to cast and to actually see the team grow. And this is why I wanted to highlight Neptune is watching. Practice casting those sets, and you can see what happens when Neptune is actually able to do his job. Like when he's playing the blasters, he's actually able to get that AoE damage down. Yeah. Mad numbers that he was pumping out. It was unreal. I'm not
going to deny that. I think that. So you said 5th, 6th, yeah?
I reckon with the other teams 5th, 6th, but if they show up, I don't see a reason why they can't make playoffs.
Ooh, that's spicy. I like it. Okay. I said playoffs. I said if they... But it's so much reliant on the 2 DPS players, because the rest of the team's pretty solid, and we've both seen that now. Like Dutch, and the healer, and stuff. Now, was that practice cast with the new healer?
I think there was a sub. It was a sub in the...
Well, if they play that well with a sub, and they hammer down, and they really push out scrims, and I hope that's what Waffy's doing. He's saying, right, you lot, get your act together, get your shit together, go, now, push for scrims, and just get that synergy
And also,
going.
I mean, like, the one player we've literally not even mentioned yet is Gage, the team captain. Like, he was brought in, he didn't play in Season 1, and he's been given the captain role, and, he is up on front line, so you can expect the shot calling to be made and actually play around him.
He's the off-tank, isn't he?
I believe so, yes. Yeah. But he is the front line. So, I don't know, maybe we can see how...
Wait a minute, hang on.
We see how he does.
Yeah, if we see how he goes, but... Now, if you remember, prior to this, earlier on in this conversation, I said if Maeve plays off his tanks, and Neptune does as the blast, right? Now, if Gage is the off-tank, and he's playing like the Ashes, or a utility tank, or something like that, and they play off what he does, and he makes a play, and the shot call is to do it, and they follow it, that's where I think the synergy is going to come into order. That's where I think the plays are going to come, and that's where the damage is going to go. And I think they can pick up a lot of wins. I still say if they put it down, they make playoffs. Me, I say 5th. If it's not playoffs, it's 5th, just outside the playoffs.
Yeah. Would you say that if they're not going to make playoffs, would it come down to the last week, like a la what we had in Season 1, when it literally came down to Crisis versus Zoo in the last week? Winner goes to playoffs, loser gets 5th.
Yeah, but that could happen to any single team, you see, so...
I know, but if you predict them to make playoffs, but if they don't, do you think it's going to be literally at the very last breath?
I think it'll be like a massive... Right, so say they get an early start. Now, I don't know who they've got. I did announce the extra thing. That's in the Discord. Which, by the way, if you guys are watching this and you're wondering, oh, how do I get involved? You can check out the Discord link in the description below in this video. Everybody's welcome to come discuss esports discussions with us over at the Legacy League TV Discord. But I think... Week 6, Week 7 again. You know, the same as like where we saw it in like the Fate Leviathan and all that. I think, no, you're right. It could come down to possibly the last week again. Depending on the fixtures. Like, I haven't actually looked to see who they're playing in Week 7. All the schedule was done. I just haven't had a chance to look. I think, no, you are right. I think it could come down to Week 6, Week 7 again. But they've got to get a good start early on. Now, I don't know who they're first... Who are they playing first?
Are we going to announce that one just yet, Jay?
Good point. I was about to let loose. See, this is why I have people help me, because I will let loose. I've got bundles of information, and I let loose stuff. My SSG.
So some things just slip out.
Yeah. You know, the PPL roster, the SSG roster, and I release the video, and then I get a very polite email going, Jay... Oh, right. My bad. But yeah, I think... No, you're right. Week 5 and 6, I think, are going to be the... Week 6 and 7 are going to be the most important weeks for him. If they have a rough mid-season, late season, obviously the last 2 weeks coming in before playoffs, I think that's where they're going to need to really strum up their courage and say, right, come on, let's hammer this. But anyway, guys, that has been the BrutalFissure Roster breakdown. Our predictions are 2 picks, which is Neptune and Maeve, and we wish them all the best. Remember, guys, links in below. Check out all the social media. Check out the website. Check out the Discord. Join it if you wish. And, of course, like, favour, and subscribe, and leave us a comment below. And we will see you in the next one.